people who have the guts to ask their crush out. What happened afterwards? We were hanging out at our typical spot when I told her that I'd had a big crush on her for the past year and I'd really like it if she gave me a shot. Just one date. She said, nah, I don't see you like that. And then it was, pretty fucking weird. She tried changing the subject, but I was a million miles away by that point. I made up a reason to take off and she graciously didn't call me out for it being bullshit. I avoided her over the next few weeks. For some reason or another, her rejection humiliated me even though no one else knew about it. If she texted to see if I wanted to hang out, I wouldn't respond or I'd lie and say I was doing something. One night, there was a knock on the door of my apartment. It was her. I knew she'd come around. I opened the door and she came in and sat down on my couch and said this, and I'm paraphrasing, I just don't like you in a romantic way. I can't help it. I'm just not attracted to you. You just don't spark my fire. I'm sorry. That being said, I miss you. You're my best friend and I spend pretty much all my free time with you. So if you want to go on a date with me, I'll do that for you. And I realized how much my friendship meant to her and how shitty and cowardly I'd been to avoid her. After she rejected me, I told her that I was sorry, and if she could forgive me and see her way past this, I'd really like to resume our friendship. It wasn't easy, but I was able to find the maturity to conquer those feelings. We picked up where we left off, minus a little baggage. A few years ago, a lifelong friend from back home came down to visit me. I introduced him to my friends here and, well, she found her spark. They've been happily married now for 2 years and I can only hope that their son and my daughter can enjoy the same level of friendship as her and I do. Asked this guy out. He seemed sweet and smart and was cute. First time I ever asked someone out. He said yes. First date was picking up a video after he got off work and watching it at his place. Sounds good. He's really anal about the timing though, which is weird. Yep. He was on house arrest. Probation after being in the federal pen. Not a violent crime. Thank God. That taught me that it would be smart to get to know someone a tad better before agreeing to be alone with them in their home. Edit. To everyone assuming it was drugs, it wasn't. It had to do with organized crime, not a small lapse in judgment, and not for having a little weed on him or something. Also, my point was that I went someplace to be alone with someone who was a practical stranger. I realized that was not a particularly smart move in general. I didn't know this person before I put myself in a vulnerable situation, which is vulnerable whether or not the person has a criminal record. I did not decide not to date him solely because he was on house arrest or had a criminal record. Everyone makes mistakes, including myself. The bigger issue was that he didn't take responsibility for what he did. He made excuses, insisted he didn't really hurt anyone, and blamed other people for what happened. This is not a case of making a mistake, owning up to it, and moving on. Also, turned out he was incredibly racist, which is unrelated, but an issue for me. My sophomore, her junior year of college, we got introduced through mutual friends and hit it off. We started hanging out at parties we both went to, in the coffee shop at my school, doing homework, all that. We didn't really seek each other out, just kept running into each other because of our mutual friend groups. This went on for a month. Would hang out and chat and flirt jokingly. I didn't think I had a chance with her being a pretty, popular girl a year older than me, so I figured she was just being nice, returning my jokes and all. It turns out, she didn't think she had a chance with me and also thought I was just being nice, friendly with my jokes. Her and her friends would always joke, "When will I be with you?" Thermal Climber has the light of my life, and so I didn't think of it as any less of a fun joke when she did it. One night we both went out to a bar party with a group of friends, and ended up going home with different people. We were chatting about it the next day, and I was like, fuck, this hurts a little. Is this feelings? A couple days later she mentioned that the guy wanted to grab lunch with her, and she wasn't sure she was into him the same way. I was walking her home and thought that if I didn't say something I'd regret it, so I gambled that maybe all that joking, flirting from her was real, told her I had feelings for her, and then spent the longest 5 seconds of my life waiting to hear "I'm glad you said something, because I like you too." It's been 2.5 years and we're still going strong. He was the head chef where I worked and I was new in town. We always sat in the same booth during our breaks and got to know each other over the course of a month, then found out We had a lot in common. One night before I left, I wrote my number down to give it to him and to ask him out. We asked each other, "Do you want to hang out?" At the same time, man then blushed. Our first date was at a rooftop bar celebrating a coworker's birthday. He asked me if he could kiss me. That's when I knew he was the one. Now, years later, we have a beautiful baby boy that we love more than each other. He still has my phone number in his wallet. I go to a cafe, and the barista is a great cutie pie. I just broke up out of a soul-sucking relationship 3 months ago. It had lasted 7 years. And 5 years longer than it should have. We talked often after work for me and shared similar tastes in music, if not an appreciation for all music, appreciation for film, and discussed much of it, even suggested some movies to each other to watch, and shot sarcastic comments back and forth. I mustered the courage to ask her to go pumpkin carving last weekend and she said she would love to. She asked the next day if I'd like to out because she had a surprise day of work off. We had a 4-hour conversation at a cafe downtown and then went on a 2-hour walk. Came back to the car holding hands. In all of my life I've never really done that. She said she wanted to not get into a relationship like that quickly and I agreed. Drove her home and gave each other a hug goodbye. She asked if Kay wanted to come over that next Friday evening and cook dinner and watch some scary movies. We did and it was great. Watching people get chainsawed in half had the desired effect, I believe, because I ended up crawling into her arms and squeezing her palms. Watched the next movie and just ended up essentially hugging the entire time and scratching each other's head. Time to go, and I go to give her a kiss on the cheek goodnight, but she goes for the lips instead. We laugh. 2 nights later and we spend Sunday all together and go thrift store shopping. Too much rain for the planned pumpkin carving. 6 hours later, I walk her to her car and we look into each other's eyes. I go in for the real deal kiss and she does too. That was yesterday. I feel a happiness inside I haven't felt inside in years. We are extremely blunt and to the point with each other. Much of the dialogue between us in the above story is this way. I like her because she makes me want to take care of myself and to be myself. I feel like exercising and studying, reading again for the first time in years. All of a sudden, it has only been little more than a week, and I am hesitant to out labels to this right now. In fact, I don't know why I'm even sharing this. I can tell she is very special to me, and that's all that matters, I suppose. You never know who you will discover behind a face until you talk to them. This has most definitely affected me for the better, even if it does not end in the ideal manner. My only hope is that my old habits do not resurface and hurt this. She seemed to be throwing signs of interest because the first couple times we hung out through some mutuals, she kept touching my arms and giving me little to no personal space and had us hang in the back from the group as we talked about philosophy and life. So, naturally, I thought we had chemistry and asked her out. We went to an art museum, got some food, talked about a whole variety of topics. There seemed to be some really good chemistry going on as we couldn't stop talking or joking around with each other. Dropped her off. She gave me a hug, a smile, and told me to text her, and then ghosted me after I attempted to start a conversation a few times throughout the week. Then I ran into her a month later and she apologized about ghosting me, but that she wanted to still be friends and that she's dealing with this one dude, but that she'd text me. Proceeds to give me a hug and explains how she really does like me as a person, and my personality is intelligent and all. Another month passes and still haven't heard anything. Come to think of it, she talked a lot about her ex, made an unnecessary comment about my body type and how it's on the skinny side, not to be rude, and then proceeded to talk about how she wanted a sugar daddy, all while grabbing my arm and giving me no personal space whatsoever, and throwing compliments at me left and right. Very confused, mixed messages, but I'm moving on cause it actually got me a bit neurotic. Not a good sign. But what else can you do? Not exactly my story, as it is his. Though when I was in high school, I had this huge crush on this guy and my friend group, gamers, nerds, outcasts, etc. Starting from the 9th grade. He was seriously the funniest person I had ever met, and he was so cool because of it. All my female friends would tell me to just ask him out, but I couldn't because I was so afraid. He would say no and make fun of me for the rest of my high school experience. In my junior year he left to go to a different school, but we still kept in touch because his cousin, who also went to the school, became my best friend to this day. She had managed to give me his number and, after mustering up the courage to text him, He was actually engaged in conversations with me, even though I was lanky and gross. Then the texting fell off and we grew distant in our senior year. One day my bestie had a family event at her house and my crush was there. We all had such a good time, and I realized that my feelings, which had merely been in hibernation, were back and stronger than ever, but he was probably too cool to notice me. Later that day after I went home, he messaged me, told me he really liked me, and wanted to date. We dated for almost a year before I had to leave for college and fuck up my life entirely. Moral of the story is ask them out, cause maybe they'll say yes. This girl came to my school in 9th grade. We had both suffered bullying but were generally happy people. Neither of us ever had that one close friend. We became that immediately. I had a rough year, and basically had a relationship with a girl. All my friend had a crush on me. She had no reason to continue being friends with me, but she did. We've been like family ever since. We go through the problems of high school, the work, stress, uncertainty. My parents almost split up when I was a senior. We helped each other through everything. People would mistake us as a couple. We always have fun with each other, have deep talks, talk on the phone, FaceTime for hours, and have occasional sweet and sentimental moments, but laugh it all off and swear up and down. Nothing would ever happen. I was adamant on a relationship because I didn't want to get hurt again, and thought I'd just be fine alone. We follow each other to college. We spend all this time together and continue being buds. She has so many amazing qualities, but one day I realized that all the great qualities she has that I've loved and respected all these years are the exact things that would make me risk everything for a relationship. My brain switched gears immediately. 6 years of being each other's closest friends and now I caught feelings. I told her in person. We talked for about 3 hours. She said she considers me too much like family. We were both naive to think it couldn't happen. We didn't talk for 10 days after that. She said she needed space. The one person who I'd spoken to for every single day for the last 6 years. We've had another dry spell for a week now. Rejection sucks, but I stand to lose the closest friend I have, and it hurts every day. We've always said we mean the world to each other and we'd be lost without each other. I'm afraid I'm falling into irrelevance and eventually it'll just be a memory to her. I always want to be that family figure in her life because I protected her when we first met. I didn't bully her with the rest of the crowd. Her feelings for me were so long ago, but I joke now and say that we're even. I had a crush on this girl in my friend group. Her name is Lee. Name changed. Obviously Lee did go to my school the year before, but switched to another school nearby. At one point we were all hanging out after school, then a couple of my friends peer pressured me into telling them who my crush was, including my crush Lee. I tried to give vague clues, but eventually decided fuck it. I told everyone who it was, gave Lee some time to process. After about 5 minutes I asked Lee if she would like to go out with me. She said yes. Afterwards we set a time and place for a date for about a month away. We text back and forth, mostly memes. After 2 weeks, I got something along the lines of this message from her. I'm sorry about this, but I changed my mind about the entire date. I'm not looking for a romantic relationship right now. I also have a lot of other things to deal with at the moment, and wouldn't be able to be invested in something like that. I just hope we can remain friends. Then I replied something along the line of, if a romantic relationship is not what you want, then that's fine with me. I don't care what kind of relationship you have with me, as long as you are happy. And we can still be friends at the end of the day. If you think that is the end, you are wrong. We go back to being just friends, which I'm fine with, and send more memes to each other. After about 2 months we all hang out and play D&D. This is my first time seeing Lee since the original. Yes, I talked with Lee afterward, and she changed her mind about changing her mind. This is as far as I am at the moment, still waiting to see how this all turns out for me. I just hope that she didn't feel bad about changing her mind on me, that she guilted herself to change it back. Turned out she was engaged, but still went on several dates and drunk sent me nudes on accident. Then the first time I asked if she wanted to date, she told me and said that right before I asked her out they broke up and she saw it coming. Little later I ask again and then she says it was after I asked her out and that she wasn't expecting it at all. So pretty much a waste of time. I regret nothing though. The first one, 13 years old. She already knew that I had a crush on her and she just declined my proposition. She was really empathetic and gentle. She just told me that she was not interested. I was almost certain that she was not interested, I just wanted to be sure. The second one, 16 years old, I was drunk and explained that I had a crush on this girl. To another drunk friend. She told the girl without me knowing it, and I had only the possibility to talk to her. Several weeks later on another party. The friend didn't do it on purpose. But I remember being quite depressed for several years after that, and I completely stopped trying to get into a relationship hoping to do so. But during the third time, 18 years old, I had several nice chat with a classmate. I asked her if she wanted to go for a drink after an examination. She accepted and we chatted and walked into the street. After a few minutes it became obvious for both of us that we definitely didn't match. Nobody told it, but it was clear. We left each other after an hour. The fourth time, 21 years old. There was a girl that was in our friend group since quite a long time. One day, we were sitting together at a party and I had a lot of fun chatting together. At this time, I realized that I had a start of crush on her. One day I mastered an RPG at my house and she came playing. Because one of the players couldn't make it, so we had an extra place. At the end of the evening and several beers, she asked if she could sleep in my room. I believed it was because she was interested in me, but it was because my two friends also there are very loudly sleepers, so I was the lesser evil. We chatted a bit and nothing more. It was late and I was way too drunk and tired to do anything. A few days later, I asked her if she wanted to go for a drink at a local bar. I decided to go to bar I never go to avoid meeting some of my friends. After a while we decided to go to my standard bar because every other bars were full of random drunk old men. We chatted for 5 or 6 hours and decided to go eat something. After that we were planning to return to a bar, but we stumbled upon our common loudly sleeper friend with a bunch of other friends all drunk, and we decided to go with them. We went to a bar with them, met other friend, then finished being 10 people throwing a random party, a friend's house. I didn't even knew the owner 2 hours earlier. The morning after we each leave and she texted me afterwards that it was one of the most random, yet funnier day of her life, so we meet again and we are together for more than 3 years now. I know it is always easier afterwards, but I would love to go back in time and explain to my old self that not finding your crush very fast is not terrible. Being a virgin after 20 years old is clearly better than having toxic relationships. Be patient and stay yourself.